What's up, everybody? Time for some more rSpace. My mother-in-law came to my house while I was on vacay and cleaned without asking. My family and I went across the country for 4 weeks over the holidays, and when we returned home at 3 a.m., my mother-in-law was sitting on my couch. My father-in-law picked us up from the airport, but I wasn't expecting to visit with my in-laws at 3 a.m. right after a very, very long day in airports. While I was chatting with my annoying mother-in-law, she says, "I didn't want you to come home to a mess, so I did some cleaning up for you." AKA, she wanted to snoop through my stuff. My house was very tidy when I left, much tidier than her own home, so it just pissed me off. It totally made me feel like I don't clean enough when that is literally all that I do when I am home because I like a clean and tidy house. I responded to her by saying that her son and I are both adults. We do not need anyone cleaning up after us, especially when our house was not even messy in the first place. I feel like I have no privacy if she thinks she can come into our home when we are not there. The other annoying thing is that all the laundry she washed had already been washed and dried, but she ran it through the washing machine with no detergent and let it sit there for a few days. Ugh. My fiance and I became parents at a young age, 20 and 22, and I feel like she was always trying to treat us like we're still children and that what we say doesn't actually matter. My mother-in-law and father-in-law also still refer to each other as mommy-daddy, which I find super odd considering their kids are now 24 and 22. Would anyone else be annoyed by this, or am I just crazy? First response from Ziona. Change your locks. Don't tell them you did either. Bonlow87 chimes in. Her key should be taken back. She abused a privilege. Dragonette316 quips. Send her a bill for the ruined clothing, too. Danict replies, vinegar in the washer's bleach dispenser so that it is watered down before it contacts the clothes, as straight vinegar can cause fading, plus half a cup of baking soda in the basin with the clothes, plus Clorox 2 in the basin, plus as much fabric softener in the dispenser as it can handle, plus detergent, plus a steam cycle on the washer if it has one will take the stink out of just about anything in one go. I am terrible at keeping track of clothes and used to wash my grandmother's clothes and comforters when she lived in the nursing home, and I could get things smelling so good that the nurses and CNAs asked me how I did it. Next thought from Blue Carnations 12. What did your significant other say to her cleaning your home? How fast did they leave after you got home? How long did it take before all the locks to all the entrances were rekeyed? To be honest, they do get to call each other whatever pet name they want. Next long trip away, hire a bonded professional to check the house. Squints adds on, I experienced something similar. My mother-in-law lives with us because she's retired and my wife is her only family. My mother-in-law has a separate apartment in her house, but always comes over and cleans without asking and moves stuff around. I find it very invasive and totally agree with your feeling. We're adults. My mother-in-law also refers to us as children, even though I'm 43 and my spouse is 39. It's gotten to the point for my wife and I where we're going to basically have an intervention with her to tell her to stop. On to the next adventure. Glad she's out of my life. So I've been pretty much no contact with my mother-in-law since November. The last time I talked to her was when she called me to talk to my husband through a number I didn't recognize because she knew I didn't want to be in contact with her. But throughout this time, a lot of stuff has been resurfacing. So I'm pregnant, and the first 4 months of me being pregnant, she was just horrible. Now, before I found out I was pregnant, this woman was just horrible to me. But suddenly, when she finds out, she's the nicest person ever. But not even that nice. On multiple occasions, she would try and put me down for having nausea or any issues that came with being pregnant. For example, I have been having a horrible aversion to pork. The second I smell, I throw up. So my husband has asked my mother-in-law to not make pork so much. We lived with them. Her response is telling my husband that she never got sick from pork, so it couldn't be making me sick. Which upsets me for another reason, because the only person who I would have a similar experience to with my pregnancy was my mom and sister, who both had aversions to pork dieting their pregnancy. So her saying that was completely unnecessary. But she also then decided she would make pork for dinner about 4 to 5 times a week, then complain when I refused to leave our room or eat with them. She finally stopped when I got sick of her telling everyone in the house I was faking it and just being rude, and decided that I would go to the kitchen when she was making pork and throwing up right in front of her to prove I wasn't faking. There was also commenting about my weight and how I was gaining a lot. Not true because of the stress she caused me I was losing weight, and how she was skinnier than me. Or the comment on how I'm fishing for attention about my pregnancy because I was joking with my husband about having twins because they run on both sides of our family. That it wasn't fair that she wasn't allowed to tell anyone about my pregnancy because me and my husband asked that no one told people since it was our pregnancy and we wanted to announce it our own way. But turning around and telling people, and when confronted, playing the victim or lying. Getting upset because I told her she wasn't allowed to the first appointment and not letting her know when or where it was so she couldn't try and tag along. What's sad is that was just the first 4 months of my pregnancy. She's been treating me like crap for 4 years. I have so many stories of her mistreatment and turning everything on me and making me look bad. It's been almost 2 months. I haven't seen her, and honestly, it's been the best 2 months of my life since knowing her. Blue Carnations 12 responds, and throwing up right in front of her to prove I wasn't faking. That would make a point totally clear. I'm glad you are free of that environment. Dot from Kansas adds, it will get better the longer you don't see her. Stress harms the baby and is abusive to you both. She is abusive. She should never be allowed to continue the abuse to the next generation. Disrespect towards you means no access to your baby. On to the next story. Mother-in-law trouble again. Over the Christmas period, we had yet another falling out with a mother-in-law because my partner cannot communicate properly with his mother with regards to Christmas plans. She ended up ringing my partner and having a huge go at him about how she didn't see my daughter over Christmas, etc., etc., and then went on to say nasty stuff about the fact I isolated so I could be with my mom and Nan on Christmas. Like I did nothing wrong, but she always uses the fact I plan stuff with my family and go to those events against me and my partner, even though she's never done anything nice to welcome me into their family. She's always treated me like crap. Anyway, fast forward to now, and she and my partner expect me to go to her house on Sunday for his dad's birthday celebrations, but I have told him no, I'm not going. He now won't talk to me and tried to guilt me into the fact that his grandparents will be there. Honestly, so much has happened in the past, her comments about my Nan just felt like the final straw. She never even apologized and apparently had no intention because she didn't think I would accept the apology? Like she wouldn't even try to, and so I am now done. Problem is, partner wants to take my daughter with him every time they have a family event there, which, whilst I understand, I wouldn't mind some time with her either. I don't know if I'm being wrong here. First reaction from E. Stewart 57. Go with your kid. Your job is protect the child from mother-in-law, talking trash about you, parental alienation, making sure little one gets fed correctly, naps, and causing problems with you and your significant other. Talk to your significant other. You're a team. Make him realize that. One more thought from Banana Hammer Redo. How does his dad treat you? If he's nice to you, then go, but ignore mother-in-law as much as you can. Take care of your kiddo, visit with the other guests, and be polite but distant with mother-in-law. However, let your significant other know that if he expects you to go, you expect him to defend you from his mother's insults and rudeness. If he can do that, great, you have a deal. If he cannot, then you're not going, because you're nobody's punching bag. Next story. Is she a narcissist? I think my mother-in-law is a narcissist, but how do you really know? I feel 100% certain most of the time, but then I think, what if I'm just being mean? What if she's actually being nice and doesn't realize how she comes across? I think she's more the covert type, if anything, but I just can't get the idea out of my head that I might be making it up. If your mother-in-law is a narc, how did you come to realize? Reaction from Chef Stefan CF. Narcs are notoriously hard to properly diagnose since they won't see a therapist or psychologist long enough and are very comfortable lying. Personally, I think labels are overblown. If you see something swimming in a pond with webbed feet, a flattened bill, with feathers, making a quacking sound, do you really need an ornithologist to help you determine it's a duck? By the same token, if you read up on covert narcissism, you'll see specific patterns of behavior that can be predicted and how to deal with them. If she's following the narcissist script and you can start to predict her next steps, do you really need a diagnosis? It's not like you're trying to get her committed to an asylum, you're just using the tools available to you. My suggestion would be to read and learn all you can, so you can prepare yourself, then learn her cycle. It's going to get awfully hard to manipulate if you say, she's done X, so in 3 days she'll do Y. Then in 5 days, after that, she'll do Z. Be calm and matter of fact about it. Once you see it for what it is, it gets really easy not to get suckered in. For example, it's hard to feel guilty when you see the cycle. Mom says does something awful, you get mad, mom loves bombs, your husband feels bad, you apologize for her actions, rug sweep, happy family honeymoon, mom says does something awful. It's also a good way to open your husband's eyes. He's going to have a really hard time continuing to defend her trash behavior if you say, honey, it's December 13th. Your mom is going to get sick or injured this week. And she does. Or, yes, I know she's giving us the silent treatment, but I'm not calling her when she'll call you on Thursday to make sure you know she's giving you the silent treatment. You can't ever change her from trying to be the puppet master, trying to constantly manipulate everyone to dance to her tune. But once you see the strings for what they are, you can untie yourself and start pointing them out to others. Last comment from Saffron Ginger. Don't worry about the title of narcissist. Focus on the behavior. It doesn't matter if she's ignorant about what she's doing. She's still doing it. And that's not okay. And you get to set boundaries and limits based on that behavior.